Hey, man, check it out, man. Look, today on Red to Canada police say Toronto rapper gunned down Rowdy American tours, man. Look, bro, I don't even know who this is, you know what I'm saying? Who gonna be in this video, but I'm gonna find out. But anyway, man, I ain't gonna waste no more time. Only thing I want y'all boys to do is like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit them post notifications, baby, so you can know when I'm posting every day. Let's get into it, bro.
22-year-old Michael Palmer from Niagara Falls, New York, crossed the border with 4 friends. Police say they went to the former CD Sports Bar on Ottawa Street in Hamilton, but Palmer never came home. Police say the investigation has been driven by witnesses, and new statements led Hamilton police to 32-year-old Jermaine Dunkley, a Toronto man previously known to police.
It's your boy Jay Noble, we here.
Dunkley is a rapper. Several of his music videos, like this one,
You buy guns for show, we like using it.
have been used by police
My goon shoot when I say so.
to build a case against him. Videos where he raps about drugs and guns and territory. It has been suggested that what is being sung or rapped about in many videos on YouTube is strictly fictional, the report notes. However, in the case of Jermaine Dunkley, his music and lyrics appear to represent reality.
Welcome back to Hut TV 416. In this video, we're going to take a look at a crazy story out of Ontario. It's the story of a group of rowdy American tourists who made the fatal mistake of believing in all too common stereotype about Canada. It's the stereotype that Canada is soft, and because it's not Chicago or
Y'all boys need to get this stereotype out y'all head. Canada is not soft, especially Toronto. Them boys is really savages out there, boy. Y'all boy better get that out y'all head thinking Toronto niggas is soft. What? Y'all crazy, boy. Y'all go to Toronto acting a fool. Y'all want to, boy. Get y'all head split, nigga. What you talking about, nigga? Get your head. You know what I'm saying? Get your duty booty ate too. Let me chill out.
LA, that real crime or violence doesn't exist north of the border. That's why, when the Americans came to party in Hamilton, Ontario that night, they couldn't appreciate that they were stepping into a city with a noted history of biker gangs, mob activity, and street gangs. A city where
also, how y'all, I know it's Toronto people watching me, of course. I got Toronto fans. Y'all, I don't need like to call y'all fans. Y'all not fans, y'all gang, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, Toronto dudes, you know what I'm saying? My Toronto guys out there. How y'all niggas feel about us Americans? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Underestimate y'all boys, you know what I'm saying? How y'all feel about, well, I don't underestimate y'all. I'm talking about like other Americans that ain't hip on y'all, you know what I'm saying? Cause they think y'all like weak. How y'all feel about that, bro? Let me know, bro.
where, just this week, on September 16, 2021, a well-known businessman's home was invaded, his 2 sons shot, before he himself was dragged out, and forced into a waiting vehicle from which his body was later dumped on the side of a road. Generally speaking, Canada is very safe. But it's also no different than anywhere else in the world. If you are looking for a problem, you will definitely find one. That's exactly what police claimed happened when the American tourists came to party in Canada that night. According to police, the loud and rowdy Americans had stepped on the toes of a well-known rapper and self-admitted Toronto gang leader. The gang leader, who was described by informants as a rising local drug kingpin, who allegedly had dirty cops on.
Oh, yeah, that nigga, mashed potato bowl looking at nigga, man. Oh, my mama. Extra acorn head ass nigga, retarded alligator looking ass nigga, man. Glad nigga. Fat nose ass, Megatron nose ass nigga. Mama, you can smell everything. Ugly ass nigga, stupid face ass nigga, man.
On his peril, and who was linked to one of the most notorious street gang rivalries in Toronto history, the rivalry between Mount Olive and Drexel. According to police, that rapper then sent one of the Americans home in a body bag. But, as we'll see, the police's version of events would be systematically picked apart in.
I'm gonna send you a box right back to him. If y'all watch that, you know what I'm saying, that verses, he said, I'm gonna send him on a box right back to you.
Court. The police's entire case relied on the testimony of one star witness, a longtime police informant whose story the judge slammed as having evolved through coaching by the police. A murder mystery, snitches working with dirty cops, and wiretap jail conversations.
Ooh,
this video had...
I know how I feel. Well, yeah, I don't know how I feel, but them dirty cops, I can't stand them, you know what I'm saying? Like, damn, nigga, you supposed to be with the, you know what I'm saying? Hey, dirty cops gonna be everywhere. Not just here in the United States, man.
As all of it. So, let's get into it. Michael Palmer was a 22-year-old man from Niagara Falls, New York. A college graduate who worked at a casino, Palmer was described as a charismatic and good-natured person. Like many people his age, he also enjoyed going out with friends. However, partying in Niagara Falls wasn't always easy. Palmer and his friends were young black men, and found themselves routinely denied entry to local establishments. There also weren't many other places to party in upstate New York, as it's located hours outside of New York City. So, Palmer and his friends instead started traveling up north to Canada. They figured they would have an easier time there, believing Canada to be less racist. On the evening of September 8, 2005, Palmer and 4 friends would make one of those trips to Canada. They were heading back to Hamilton, Ontario, a large city located midway between Niagara Falls and Toronto. The friends were returning to one of their favorite new spots, a place called CD Sports Bar.
On September 8, 2005, Michael and 4 friends had driven from Niagara Falls, New York, and dropped into CD Sports Bar, located on Ottawa Street North in Hamilton.
The bar was located in a rougher part of town, and had a reputation amongst locals. Unbeknownst to Palmer and his friends, Hamilton is a city with a dark underbelly. It's home to multiple outlaw biker gangs, mob families, and street gangs, which have moved in to profit off the lucrative drug trade in the city's downtown. Downtown Hamilton is also where CD Sports Bar was located. However, Palmer and his friends didn't seem to have any concerns as they headed into that part of Hamilton that night. This was Canada after all. But their assumption was one of a series of mistakes the friends made that evening, an evening none of them would ever forget. Palmer and his friends arrived at CD Sports Bar ready for a good time. The group of 5 men partied, danced, and flirted with the many women that were at the bar. However, as Palmer and his friends were enjoying themselves, their loud and rowdy style of partying made them stand out. This is how Palmer's friend later described the situation. Quote, "I thought we were resented because we're American. We're loud. We can take a lesson or two in humbleness from Canadians. We're big on, look at me." End quote. The Americans were receiving the wrong type of attention. Palmer and his friends noticed that another group of men were standing at the bar, mean mugging them. The mean muggers were whispering amongst each other, while staring at Palmer and his friends.
Start seeing mean mugging, you gotta, either do something about it. If you see a nigga mean mugging, you gotta do something about it. If you're not gonna do something about it, you gotta leave. I ain't gonna lie. You either gonna, or you gonna go. You know what I'm saying? One of the two. You see a nigga mean mug you in the club, or the bar, in this case, you gotta either do one of them two right there.
In a way that suggested they didn't appreciate the Americans' presence. Palmer and his friends then made another mistake.
Oh yeah. How y'all niggas feel about us coming over there? You know what I'm saying? Toronto dudes. This for my Toronto people. How y'all like feel about us coming over there trying to party with y'all? Like, do y'all resent that? Like this situation? Like, do y'all like look at these American niggas trying to come over here and trying to take over our stuff, and you know what I mean? Trying to be with us, or like, is it just cool? You know what I'm saying? Y'all, you know what I'm saying? I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I forward. You know what I'm saying? Toronto people. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can come over here. We can mix any day, but I don't know if we can come up there and mix with y'all. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Let me know.
Rather than adjust their behavior to fit in with the Canadians, they instead continued their loud and rowdy partying. One of Palmer's friends later explained what was going through his mind at the time. Quote, "My mind keeps going back to, this is Canada. We only get this stuff back at home. Being on the wrong block." End quote. But the Americans actually were on the wrong block. They were being given all the warning signs, but refused to listen. Why? Because this was Canada. The bar would eventually close at 2 a.m., and patrons started walking to a nearby parking lot. The parking lot was located approximately 100 meters south of CD Sports Bar, and people would typically hang out there after the bar closed. The American's car was also parked there. But Palmer and his friends still weren't ready to call it a night. They continued being loud and rowdy as they walked down the sidewalk to the parking lot. They even got into an altercation with a 19-year-old woman who was out celebrating her birthday that night. The Americans mocked her for being Canadian. One of Palmer's friends then picked the woman up and began twirling her around as a joke. Palmer's friend later admitted that the men were having fun at the woman's expense. However, the woman didn't appreciate this and offered a nearby bouncer $100 to punch Palmer's friend in the head.
Golly. That's how Toronto girls feel? Y'all don't, golly. Y'all putting bounties on niggas? Y'all different. That's different. Hey. It's different.
One of Palmer's other friends also started shouting insults at the woman. Palmer and his friends eventually reached the parking lot. The mean muggers were already hanging out there, and the Americans therefore had to walk past them as they made their way to their car. The mean muggers continued to grill them. One mean mugger stood out from the rest as particularly angry. Witnesses described him as a tall and slender man, with braided hair, and wearing a Yankees hat with a black hoodie. One of Palmer's friends said that the tall mean mugger also gave off what he described as were Jamaican vibes. But Palmer and his friends once again didn't pay it any mind. This was Canada after all. Palmer and his friends proceeded to hang out in the parking lot, and some of them began talking to a third group whose car was parked next to the Americans. Phone numbers were exchanged, and the Americans decided it was finally time to leave. Palmer's friends loaded up in their car. But before they could pull off, they realized that Palmer was missing. They then heard a loud pop. His friends checked to see what was going on, and found Palmer.
How you end up missing? Like, why you leaving the group, my guy? You in a whole nother country, my nigga. You not in a whole nother, nigga. You is in a whole nother country. Not a whole nother state, but a whole nother country, my nigga. And you leaving the group? Come on, bro. Ain't no way I'm finna leave. You know what I'm saying? We come in this mud together. We gotta stay together. Ain't no leaving off. We in this spot. You know what I'm saying? You going over there? Crazy, boy.
Lying face down in the parking lot. He had been shot in the left eye. People rushed to his aid, but Palmer was later pronounced dead in hospital.
Michael and a friend were seen talking to a couple of girls, while the rest of his buddies were waiting in their car nearby. As Michael left to rejoin his friends, two men suddenly appeared. One of them shot Michael in the head with a handgun. Suddenly, people scattered every which way, and several vehicles sped out of the parking lot. Two witnesses ran to Palmer's aid and waited for EMS to arrive. The two males believed to have been responsible for the shooting were seen entering a dark-colored neon car, which was driven by a woman.
She takes a picture, and in that picture is this ET. He puts the camera over in that direction.
Police immediately opened their investigation, an investigation that would ultimately raise more questions than it would answer. The investigators' main priority was clear. They needed to track down the mean muggers. The police submitted cigarette butts and pop cans from the crime scene for forensic testing, gathered phone records, set up wiretaps, searched nearby rooftops, and even reviewed data from nearby red light traffic cameras. Tips also began to trickle in. The investigators eventually focused their attention on a man named Jermaine Dunkley, a local drug dealer who was known.
Like I always say, man, look what he got, bro. Look what he got. He got them braids. Got them struggle braids. He got, see? If a nigga, like I always say, bro, if a nigga got the struggle braids, he's not playing. Niggas with struggle braids, telling y'all boys, them boys is not to be played with, man. Them struggle braids, they don't even care about themselves. They most definitely don't care about you, bro. Struggle braids equal menace. Remember that. Struggle braids equal menace. Remember what I said, man.
Known to police. Dunkley, who also went by the nicknames Germs or J Noble, matched the physical description of the tall mean mugger. As a former basketball star, he was tall and slender. He also had braided hair. Phone records had also placed him in the vicinity at the time of the shooting, which happened at 3:09 a.m. Several of Palmer's friends also picked his picture out of a police lineup. Although the evidence seemed compelling, it was mostly circumstantial, and police therefore couldn't charge J Noble. So, they instead decided to pay him a visit. In December 2005, 3 months after the murder, two detectives visited J Noble in a Hamilton jail, where he was being held on unrelated charges. The two detectives had a plan. They had the jail phones wiretapped, and planned to rattle J Noble during the interview, hoping that he would then get on the phone to a friend or family member, and talk more about the situation. J Noble was brought to a private room for a jailhouse interview, and detectives began asking him a series of questions designed to get under his skin. Before leaving the room, the detectives also left a newspaper behind. The newspaper contained a story about the murder, and included a suspect description that matched J Noble's. The detective's plan was almost smart enough to work. When J Noble returned to the range, he called his mother on the wiretap jail phone, and told her about the detectives and the newspaper story. He then told his mother, quote, "Some crazy stuff's going on. They're talking some smack. It's bullshit, trust me." End quote. However, J Noble had a hunch that the phones weren't safe to talk on. Despite their best efforts, police couldn't acquire enough evidence to charge J Noble, and the Michael Palmer case ended up going cold. For the next 12 years, between 2005 and 2017, police made little to no progress in the case. At the same time, J Noble would be released from jail, start a rap career, and rise to become a self-admitted leader of a street gang named the Monstars.
A
According to a report prepared for the Monstars Project, Dunkley's alleged rise to power followed a gang war that began 15 years ago when Dunkley was a teenager and some of his relatives were murdered.
He was later arrested in a massive police project in 2015, a project which also saw the arrest of a crooked Hamilton cop named Craig Rowdy. Keep this name in mind, as Rowdy's name will come up later. In that 2015 case, Jay Noble would make the following admission in court. Quote, Monstars is a criminal organization that started out sometime in the mid-2011 era and is a subset, or clique, of the Mount Olive Crips, based in a Rexdale neighborhood. One of the leaders of the criminal organization is Jermaine Dunkley, also known as Jay Noble, or Germs. The organization was heavily involved in drug trafficking and other criminal activity during the period from 2011 through 2015. End quote. But the Mount Olive Crips weren't an average street gang. They were instead described by police as higher than street level. They were a mid-level gang, which had direct ties to the Hells Angels. David Buchanan, aka White Dread, was a white Jamaican member of the Mount Olive Crips who was later recruited by the Hells Angels, after they recognized his unique talent for gun running. White Dread went on to become a full-patch member of the Hells Angels, and was also elected to the position of Sergeant-at-Arms of the West Toronto chapter, before later dying during the Toronto Biker Wars. This is a part of Canada that many Americans don't know about, and which Palmer and his friends learned about the hard way. If you're interested in learning more about Jay Noble and the Monstars, there's another video on this channel which covers this. But the Michael Palmer case...
Let me know if y'all want me to react to that right there, that Jay Noble one. Let me know. Say yes or no. Be like, react to that Jay Noble video.
This eventually saw a major break in 2017, after a woman came forward claiming to be an eyewitness to the shooting. She identified Jay Noble as the tall mean mugger that night, and claimed he had shot Palmer. Police believe they finally had enough evidence, and charged Jay Noble for the murder. The police's entire case would be based on the testimony of this Crown witness.
Can you talk a little about how difficult it must be in like a 12-year period to actually come up with suspects and to come up with someone like this? I mean, an arrest this long after the fact, I would think is kind of a rarity.
This case is largely witness-driven and has been from the onset. So from the onset in 2005, we've required assistance from the public, and we continue to need that assistance, and that's what's driven this investigation.
The case would then be taken to trial in early 2021. The central issue at trial was simple. Was the tall mean mugger that...
Do y'all want to react to any of this dude music, you know what I'm saying? Or even, do y'all even listen to this nigga? Like, you know what I'm saying? He might be kind of old school, y'all. You know what I'm saying? 2005, you know what I'm saying? We was like little jits in 2000. Well, some of us was little jits. Y'all niggas probably weren't even born in 2005, you know what I'm saying? But me, I was like, you know what I'm saying? I was still a toddler in 2005, you know what I'm saying?
Night really Jay Noble. The Crown prosecutor and the defense presented two very different theories. The Crown prosecutor's case relied almost entirely on the testimony of the Crown witness. At trial, she told the court that she was present at CD Sports Bar that night. Upon arriving at the bar, she said she realized that Jay Noble and several of his friends were also in attendance. The woman claimed to have known Jay Noble, portraying him as a local drug kingpin, and saying, quote, he was taking over Hamilton. He was the top guy. End quote. Regarding the events surrounding the shooting, she painted a picture of a domestic dispute gone wrong. She claimed that Jay Noble's girlfriend, a woman allegedly named Collie, was also there that night, and had been flirting with Michael Palmer, in an attempt to make Jay Noble jealous. Once the bar closed, she claimed that she witnessed Jay Noble and his girlfriend continue arguing outside. The witness claimed that she was standing next to Jay Noble when she turned her head away for a brief moment. That's when, according to her, Jay Noble shot Palmer. When she turned back to look, she claimed to have seen a literal smoking gun in his hand. However, the defense painted a very different picture. They presented the Crown witness as an opportunistic snitch who concocted a story out of thin air in order to earn favors from the police. Defense lawyers grilled the Crown witness, attacking both her credibility and her testimony. Regarding her credibility, the defense pointed out that she was a self-admitted crack dealer and worked as a long-time confidential police informant. The witness had a track record of giving information to the police in exchange for money, warnings about potential police raids, and a get-out-of-jail-free card. The defense also revealed that the Crown witness had been in contact with police about the Palmer case in 2005, 2008, and 2017. Each time, it was claimed she had a specific motive for doing so. The defense argued that the reason she began talking this time, 12 years after the murder, was because she needed help. There had been a home invasion at her house, she had lost her children to Child Protective Services, and she now wanted police to help her get them back. According to the defense, she then fabricated a story she hoped to exchange to police in return for such help. The defense further claimed the Crown witness had no problem doing such things, as she had even ratted on the father of her children in the past. On the defense's question of why she didn't come forward sooner, the Crown witness claimed that she was scared. She claimed that, in 2008, when police approached her for a second statement, she had asked to first speak with Craig Rowdy, the crooked cop who she had been working for as a police informant. According to the witness, Rowdy, who was a member of Hamilton's gun and gangs unit, told her that she didn't have to talk to the homicide squad and shouldn't make a statement. The reason why he told her this, according to the Crown witness, was because Rowdy was in Jay Noble's pocket. Rowdy was later convicted for a slew of charges, after it was revealed that he was accepting protection payments from Hamilton drug dealers.
The summer of 2015, Project Pharaoh, which resulted in the police seizure of millions of dollars in cocaine, guns, and one of their own. Rowdy, the judge said, broke the law because it was lucrative to do so. He felt a sense of almost supreme entitlement to do what he was doing. Rowdy's family left the court in tears, saying, how could this happen? He didn't take any money. Well, the judge doesn't believe that, and he ordered the officer to pay a fine of $250,000 within a year, or face 3 more years in prison.
The drug dealers would pay him tens of thousands of dollars a month in exchange for information about potential police raids or investigations, help avoiding arrest, and also to buy drugs that Rowdy had seized during raids, which he would sell to other drug dealers at a discount. The Crown witness claimed that Jay Noble was one of those drug dealers who had Rowdy in his pocket. However, the defense claimed that the real reason why the Crown witness didn't speak to police in 2008 wasn't because of Rowdy, but because she couldn't negotiate the financial terms she wanted in exchange for her story. After undermining the Crown witness's credibility, the defense turned to her testimony, exposing the massive inconsistencies in the various statements she gave between 2005 and 2021. The Crown witness gave conflicting information about nearly every major detail. First, there was the reason for the shooting. In her original statement, she told police that the shooting was a hit gone wrong, and that Jay Noble had sent a man to kill someone at CD Sports Bar that night, but that the man killed Palmer by accident. At trial, she instead told the court the reason for the shooting was a domestic dispute between Jay Noble and his girlfriend. Second, there was the location of the shooting. In previous statements, she told police the shooting happened on the sidewalk outside of the bar. At trial, she instead said it happened in the parking lot. Third, there was the question of whether the Crown witness was present at CD Sports Bar that night. In her original statement, she told police she wasn't there and had heard about the shooting through a mutual friend after the fact. At trial, she instead claimed that she was an eyewitness who was standing next to Jay Noble in the parking lot. When confronted about these inconsistencies, the witness would pass it off as either her being unable to remember or blame it on stress and health issues. In the end, the judge accepted the defense's arguments that the Crown witness couldn't be trusted. On the question of her testimony, the judge stated, quote, "In summary, regarding BG's testimony, I find that there are many unexplained illogical inconsistencies, both internal and external, in her evidence." End quote. On the question of the witness's credibility, the judge then stated, quote, "Moreover, even if there were no inconsistencies, I would have to treat BG's evidence with caution because of her criminal lifestyle, her dishonest character, her possible motive to lie, her demeanor, and the way in which her important evidence evolved through coaching by police officers." End quote. The last part of that statement is shocking. The judge said that the witness's story had evolved through coaching by the police. In effect, the judge's statement supports what Jay Noble had been saying all along: the police were actively trying to pin the murder on him. Jay Noble then took the stand in his own defense. He would admit to the court that he had originally lied to police, initially telling them he wasn't at the bar that night. He explained the reason for his lie was that he didn't want to be part of the investigation because, as a young black man, he came from a place where people didn't trust the police. Jay Noble also contradicted the Crown witness's testimony. She said that Jay Noble's girlfriend, a woman named Collie, was present at CD Sports Bar, and that the two had been arguing that night. Jay Noble claimed he didn't even know a woman by that name. The judge also pointed out that the Crown prosecutors failed to provide any evidence either proving that this woman, Collie, was Jay Noble's girlfriend, or that the two had even known each other in the first place. While testifying in his defense, Jay Noble would also challenge the Crown prosecutor. On a wiretap phone call made shortly after the jailhouse interview, police overheard the following conversation between Jay Noble and his friend. "Jay Noble, hear me out. Some fettuccine came through today. Talking about some guy got peeled up over at CD's. Talking about my name coming up. Jay Noble's friend. Story up, bud. Jay Noble. Yeah, story up. According to the Crown prosecutor, the term story up was a coded way of saying that Jay Noble and his friend needed to stick to the same story they were planning to tell the police. Jay Noble said story up was instead a term used to call something out as bullshit. He would also tell the court the following, quote, "How I speak and you speak are two different things. We speak naturally in slang and come from an urban culture. Words can mean one thing this year and something else next year." End quote. In the end, however, the judge sided with the Crown prosecutor's interpretation, saying, quote, "I find that the only reasonable interpretation of this comment is that it was a clear message that they should both tell the same story." End quote. Who got it wrong here, Jay Noble or the judge? What does the term story up mean? Let me know in the comments. After Jay Noble testified in his defense, several other witnesses would also contradict the Crown witnesses' testimony. People in the third group, which was the group whose car was parked next to the Americans, and the witnesses closest to the shooting, also took this stand. Of all the witnesses in the trial, the judge stated that these witnesses were the most credible. These witnesses stated that, after the shooting, they got out of their car, but didn't see anyone near Palmer's body. The parking lot was completely empty. Some of the witnesses went further and stated that they had seen the tall mean mugger leave the scene before the shooting. So, even if Jay Noble was in fact the tall mean mugger, which the judge stated he believed he was, credible witnesses stated that he had left the parking lot before the shooting happened, and that he also didn't appear to have returned afterwards. The witnesses further stated that they saw two suspicious men, in camouflage bucket hats, enter the parking lot from the south side, looking like they had a purpose. The witnesses also claimed to have seen those two suspicious men quickly walking out of the parking lot immediately after the gunshot went off. In the end, the judge ruled that the Crown had failed to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt, and ultimately acquitted Jay Noble on all charges. Jay Noble was watching the proceeding from a video room at a Hamilton jail, and started smiling and laughing after the not guilty verdict. But this legal victory was bittersweet. Jay Noble was already serving a life sentence for first-degree murder in an unrelated case, after the police claimed he ordered the execution of a man he suspected of helping orchestrate the murder of his younger brother. Regardless of your opinion of him, this case raises serious questions about how police operate, and the role of confidential informants in the criminal justice system. What makes Canada one of the great countries in the world is that we are supposed to be governed by the rule of law. When suspect police officers instead work together with dishonest informants to try and bury a man under the jail, regardless of whether you believe he deserves it or not, the entire system then comes into question. It also gives rise to a troubling question. How many people has this happened to before? We will never know. Please comment, like, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video.
Stuff, man. Like, comment, and subscribe, boy. This was a long one too. But anyway, man, I'm finna wrap this thing up, man. Like I always say, man, if you like this type of content and you like this video, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell, man. I'm out. I love y'all boys, bro.